Hello everyone, I am the Basement Dweeb, you can call me Nova, and I just watched The Way of the Househusband, or Goku Shufudo if you're in Japan, on Netflix. Now, The Way of the Househusband is based on a manga of the same name that airs in Japan. I don't know what magazine it's in, but I know it's in some kind of magazine. It's written and illustrated by a guy named Kosuke Ono. The Japanese title is Goku Shufudo. I did have to put that into Google Translate because I have no idea how to pronounce it. But what's funny to me is that I put that into Google Translate and it translated it into English, and the literal English translation of Goku Shufudo is very housewife degree. That's not really super relevant. It's kind of relevant to this topic, but I just thought it was so funny, so I wanted to include that as a little fun fact about it. But anyway, so in this video, we're going to kind of go over a couple of things that I liked that I thought just really stood out about the anime and all that, which is stuff that kind of just carried over from the manga. But I'm going to talk about those things, two or three big things that I thought were the best about the show, and then I'm going to kind of go over the basic stuff: animation, voice acting, sound design, editing, and rank them basically from S tier to C tier. Nothing in the show was really bad, but there was a couple of things that left a little bit to be desired. And then I'm going to give my overall ranking for the show at the end of the video. So, without further ado, we're just going to jump right into it. So, first thing that just really stood out to me about the anime, and again, this did carry over from the manga, I love Tatsu. Tatsu is just the best. Mwah, I love that man so much. But, yeah, like, everything he does is hilarious. He's just perfect. Like, you look at him and you're like, this man is literally going to murder me. I will not live to see the next day. And then he makes you a freaking crepe or something, or like, I don't know, curry or whatever. The point is, if you interact with this man on the street and he does everything like a Yakuza, but then he also, it's like the fusion of house husband and Yakuza, and it's hilarious because he does everything with the manner of a Yakuza and the passion of a Yakuza, and then he just does all these like feminine wife-like things, but he's also so masculine. It's weird, but it's hilarious, and I love it so much. I love Tatsu. Like, I would love to marry this man, because, like, this man would look after you. Like, I would love this man so much. But even if, like, but it's one of those things where it's like, I like him and Miku, so I would never want to get in the way of that. I would just want to be friends with the guy. Like, I feel like he would be so much fun to be friends with, because he's just so out there, you know? Like, TLDR, I love Tatsu. I love that man, and I could watch him for literal hours, and I did, because I watched that show in like 2 hours, and it was wonderful. Right. Second thing that just really stood out to me about The Way of the Househusband, again, it does relate to Tatsu, because like everything kind of relates to Tatsu, because he's the main character. But so I really like seeing him interact with other people. Like, seeing him interact with other people just like out in the world in the way that he does, because of the fact that he's so weird, like the way he does things. You know, he does things with the passion of a Yakuza, but he does things that like a wife would do. It's just so out there, and it's hilarious because everyone is so confused. Like, everyone sees him and they're just like, is he like here to buy food, or is he here to murder me? I don't understand. Especially watching his interactions with other Yakuza, because they think he's about to throw hands, and then he freaking like cooks for them. Like that one knife salesman in like I think it's episode 1 or episode 2, because this series is only 5 episodes, so it's not very long. But that one knife salesman, he comes in, you know, like to try to sell Tatsu these fake knives, and Tatsu's just like wants to try it out because he's like genuinely interested in buying the thing, and the guy's like, oh, I have signed my death warrant by going to this man's door. I have signed my death warrant, and then Tatsu makes him hamburger steak. It's just like, what in the world? I love Tatsu. This all kind of goes back to the fact that I just love Tatsu, but, you know, just watching him interact with other people is hilarious, because the misunderstandings, because Tatsu doesn't want to hurt anybody, you know? He wants to be a good house husband and all that and live life happy, but everyone else thinks that he wants to murder them. And it's hilarious. it's so good, like, just watching him, because, like, he'll say things, you know, like, he wants white powder, and then everyone's like, oh, we don't carry that, and then that one bit when he's like, I want white powder, to this poor girl who's just working at a grocery store, like, who is this crazy person and why is he here? And then Miku's just like, oh no, he means flour. He means flour. And she's like, oh, it's over there. And then Tatsu's just kind of walking away. And Miku's just like, why are you, like, I love you, but why are you like this? I just love it so much. It's so good. Alright, third thing that really stands out to me, and this is again related to Tatsu interacting with other people, I love Tatsu's relationship with Miku. I love their marital relationship. It's so cute. Like, you see them interact. That one episode where she comes home from work, and he is just, you know, and he knows that she's had it rough because of overtime and all that. And he just, you know, makes a big feast for her. He tries to, you know, help her relax and all this stuff. And the thing is, and they're both so weird. Like, she understands what he's getting at, but they're both crazy. Like, they're both insane and weird, and they're a perfect match because they're both insane and weird. Like, I can't even quantify it. Like, you have to watch the show to kind of understand, or watch the show or read the manga. Either one is fine, but just consume some form of media that has them in it and just take it in, because it's so fun to watch. And the thing is, like, they're not super, they're not like, sorry, my brain's just, like, going blank right now, but, like, you watch them and you're like, yeah, they love each other, but it's not like, they're not super overt about the fact that they love each other, if that makes sense. Like, just the way, like, you can tell they're best friends, if that makes sense. Like, and the couples that are best friends and that get married are, like, the happiest people. Like, my parents were like that. My parents are best friends, and they've been married for 20 plus years, so, you know, but I love seeing that, like, and the one episode where, a cockroach is up in the apartment, and they're both freaking out, because they're like, no, cockroach! Like, Tatsu is just freaking out, and Miku's freaking out, and it's just so hilarious. Like, they're both crazy and stupid and hilarious, and they're perfect for each other, and I want only good things for the both of them. They're so wholesome. I love them so much. Alright, so now we're going to get into kind of the more technical sides of a TV show, and the reason I'm wearing a different outfit here than the rest of the footage is because I recorded this at 3 in the morning last night, and my dumb ass, for some reason, decided, because I record everything on my phone, and the final project for this is going to be around 22 minutes. It's going to be really long. So my phone didn't have the storage space to export the 20-minute video from iMovie. So I just started deleting the footage from the video. And then I realized later, oh, those have to still be in your camera roll in order to export the thing. And then later, I had saved them all in Google Photos. But for some reason, the segment of the video where I talk about the voice acting in the show just disappeared into the ether. So my phone woke up and chose violence. I was not happy about it. So I have to re-record this and then kind of just re-edit the entire thing, and I'm really mad about it. But technology is just technology. And you love it and you hate it, and it can be a grand old time, but sometimes you just want to kick someone's teeth in. Anyway, the voice acting in The Way of the Househusband is superb. I did watch the English dub because I was not aware. I didn't know if they were going to do an English release right away. Had planned on watching it if they were going to do an English release, but I just didn't know if they were going to do an English release later or if they were just going to release the sub right away. I didn't know. And then before I sat down to watch the show, I was scrolling Twitter, and Jonah Scott, the English dub voice actor for Legoshi from Beastars, posted, "Oh yeah, I'm voicing Tatsu," and I was just like, what? And I literally, I kid you not, I screamed at my phone. I was so excited. And so I immediately went down and watched the dub. Jonah Scott voice acting, S tier. Straight up, like, no cap. Jonah Scott's voice acting as Tatsu is S tier. The rest of them don't have quite the edge that he does. Like, everything he does is superb. Like, he is really, really good at voice acting. But yeah, everyone else is A tier, Jonah Scott is S tier. I don't know what gives Jonah Scott that S tier edge when he's voice acting, but he's amazing. Like, I love the voice acting. The voice acting overall is really good. But yeah, Jonah Scott just has that little S tier edge to it. And I don't know how he does it, but he's just absolutely amazing. So yeah, Jonah Scott, S tier, everyone else, A tier. Overall, really good voice acting for Way of the Househusband. So next, kind of more technical thing that we're going to be talking about is sound design. Now, I'm not a professional at all. I just know what I like and what I think sounds good and just works. So overall, the sound I think works pretty good. OP and ED were good. They weren't my kind of music, but they fit very well with the kind of show that The Way the Househusband is. Like, I don't know. Unfortunately, I didn't think to look up the names of the two songs, but they're very, very loud. Not really rapish, but they're very passionate, very passionate singing, very macho, and then they work really well with the themes of the show and with the visuals of the OP that they used in the OP. They're not bad at all. They're just not my taste. If they're your taste, good on you. They're just not my taste. But overall, I did like the sound, the comedy, the audio, the acoustic, I guess is the correct word here. The acoustic comedy was good. It was very, the soundtrack was good. There wasn't a lot of music necessarily. When there was, it did fit very good. Again, I do think a strong A tier. None of the sound design, when I was listening to it, none of it sounded bad. It all was like, it didn't stand out to me. Do I drop it to a B? Nah, it's not, it's good. Like, it blends very well. It didn't take me out. Like, when I was watching it, I was just like, yeah, this fits. Like, none of the sound design really stood out to me in the sense that I didn't, like, notice how exceptional it was. But it was never to the point where I was like, it's alright. If it got to the point where I was like, it's okay, I would have put it at a B. But because of the fact that I'm just like, yeah, this is good. Like, nothing stood out to me as not working and again, I probably should have said this earlier, everything in this video is my opinion. Everything in this video is my opinion. Like, nothing here is based on any, like, professional opinions or any of that. All of this is based on my opinion because I'm not a professional and I don't try to be a professional. This is just kind of my thoughts and my opinions on all this because I like doing that. But so, yeah, overall, I liked the way it sounded. Everything worked pretty good. I'm going to give sound design and the OP and ED a solid A tier. So next we're going to go into editing. Now, again, I know very little about how editing works in a TV show. Because, again, I am not a professional. I did not go to school for this. This is just something I do for fun on the internet. But, the editing, like mostly, especially with comedic timing, in a show that's a comedy, even if the slice of life, it's a slice of life comedy, the editing is everything. If you don't time things right and do it good, it's not gonna go very well. Like, the editing in the show, as far as I could tell, just based on the fact that the comedic timing was really, really good. Again, I do think the comedic, it's 2 a.m. Based on the fact that the comedic timing worked basically all the time. I can't think of an instance right now where the comedic timing was off. I'm going to say the editing was probably pretty good. They were able to time everything perfectly and do all that. So I'm going to give editing an A tier. Again, the show, just most of the stuff in the show just doesn't quite have that S tier edge, But again, there's nothing wrong with, the editing. The editing was good. It made me happy, the comedy was good, the show is very funny, I like it a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna give the editing for the show a solid A tier. Alright, it's time to get to the elephant in the room. The animation, or rather, the lack thereof, because unfortunately for this show, I am gonna have to give the animation an A tier because there's not a lot of it. I don't know. The best way I can describe The Way of the Househusband, the way it's animated. And again, I don't think the show overall is bad because they didn't animate it very much. But I don't know how many of you know Phantom Savage, but he and obviously a lot of other people, but it's a YouTube channel that does, like, comic dubs, right? And they kind of animate parts of the comic dub so that like the characters are kind of moving, and they edit things so that, and it looks really good. But basically, like, the Way of the Househusband is like, is the Way of the Househusband is like a really good YouTube comic dub, a colorized YouTube comic dub of the manga, more or less, with a little bit of extra animation in there, like more so than like a regular like a high quality comic dub on YouTube. Phantom Savage is kind of the gold standard for comic dubs on YouTube because he really puts in the work. They don't release stuff very often because they put in a lot of effort. So basically, The Way the Househusband is a YouTube comic dub with a budget. So, more or less. So there's not a lot of animation. They don't move a whole lot. They're essential. Some of them look like manga stills that were colored, and then they kind of jerk them around. And it's one of those things where I'm like, it's fine. It's not like bad, but the problem is, because like if this was a YouTube comic dub, I would give this S tier because this is beautiful. This would be really, really good for a YouTube comic dub. But because it's the fact that it's an actual anime series, I have to give animation a C tier because it's just, I expect more. I'm not angry at it. Like, it doesn't make me feel angry inside, like, watching the animation. Like, because I don't know how many of you know about the season 3 or season 4, whatever, of the Wrath of the Gods season for Seven Deadly Sins, the fiasco with that animation makes me mad, because that animation is straight trash. And I've seen clips. I haven't watched it yet, because I'm just like, I loved seasons 1 and 2 in the OVA so much that I just don't want to watch the rest, because I'm really worried that I'm just gonna hate the show, and that would make me really sad, because I love the show. So I just have avoided watching this season. But yeah, the clips that I've seen, that animation makes me mad. Because that animation is just straight up garbage, you know? Like, because the other seasons were so much better that one was just absolute trash by comparison. Whereas Way of the Househusband, there's A, nothing to compare it to, and B, it's just, it doesn't make me feel any strong emotions, you know? I feel a little disappointed because I was hoping there'd be more animation involved, but because of the fact that everything else about it is absolutely amazing and the animation is just a little bit disappointing, I can handle it, you know? Like, I can handle it, you know? Like, it's not great, and I wish it was animated better, but I don't regret watching it, you know? Like, I watched it and I'm like, yeah, that was fun. I'm glad I watched this show. So, yeah. Animation is a C tier. I'm very sad that I have to put it there, but again, it's just the way it is sometimes. It's unfortunate, but there's nothing we can really do about it. Okay, so overall thoughts on the show, overall ranking, I'm gonna give it a B, just because of the fact that everything else about the show is A tier except the animation, and because of the fact that we don't really have anything to compare it to. The animation's the only downside. Everything else about the show is absolute fire. If they had animated the show a little better, I would definitely give the show a very strong A tier. Again, I still wouldn't be able to give it an S just because of the fact that S tier shows, you have to have, they have a certain edge to them, you know? Like, I would say, what's an S tier show I've seen? Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood's an S. Like, stuff like that, you know? Stuff that makes a wave, I wouldn't say Demon Slayer's an S, just because I've seen Demon Slayer, I made a video, it's gonna come out in a couple of weeks. But, Demon Slayer, I don't think that's an S, just because of the fact that, while it did make huge waves, it didn't do anything crazy enough in the show. Like, it didn't do anything that really, the source material of it didn't really shock the anime community enough for it to be an S tier. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is the top rated anime of all time. That is like the gold standard for S tier, in my opinion. And obviously there's going to be shows that I like. I think Steins Gate is an S tier because it's like the greatest time travel ever. Like, Steins Gate is straight fire and I love it. But, I'm getting off topic here. But yes, I do think, overall, Way of the Househusband is a B tier. I don't think it's bad, not at all. And because of the fact that it's only 5 episodes, and it is a short form, so minus the OP and ED, it's, I think, like 13, 14 minutes per episode. something like that. So I definitely recommend watching it. It's a collection of around and it's not like 5 just regular length episodes. It's like 30 like 2 or 3 minute episodes, kind of crammed into 5. Yeah, into 5 episodes. So and again, what I did was I watched the OP and ED once for the first episode, and then after that I just skipped them because personally for me they just didn't really, they weren't anything extraordinary. They weren't bad, but I was just like whatever. If you want to watch them, it's going to be about 16 minutes an episode. If you don't watch them, it's going to be about 13. So I binged it in like less than 2, around like an hour and a half, 2 hours, somewhere in there. It didn't take me very long. But I mean, I definitely recommend it. Like, even though again not the best ever, it's a very charming show. It's very fun to watch. Very funny. If you want something lighthearted to just kind of take your mind off life or whatever, you just want to watch something that is charming and fun and all that, then I definitely recommend The Way of the Househusband. Again, a little disappointed that we didn't get it wasn't animated very much, but again, it's a good anime. Also, I highly recommend reading the manga. I would watch the anime first, because if you read the anime, it's 2 a.m. I need to stop. But if you read the manga and then watch the anime, you're going to be more disappointed. I think if you I just cannot. If you watch the anime and then read the manga, I think you're going to enjoy the anime a little more. So, TLDR, go watch Way of the Househusband, read the manga. It's all really good. Yeah, that is that. Alright, so that is going to be the end of the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. I will be linking my Patreon in the description below. Check out Phantom Savage and Jonah Scott. They both have pretty good content. Jonah Scott is at twitch.tv/Jonah Scott, and Phantom Savage is Phantom Savage on YouTube. I don't think I'm going to link them, well, should I? I think I'm going to link Phantom Savage. I don't know if, you know what? Frick it. We're gonna link the people in the description below. They deserve the shout out. They have good content. But yeah, I still do not have a proper outro, so see ya.